Welcome back again to Apache Kafka series. In this video, we are going to continue with the KRaft configurations, and let's assume you have downloaded it, because I will include the link in the description. But let's assume you download the Kafka, and you download the Kafka that is above 3.0. So one of the things that we are going to look into, let's say, for example, in my case, I have downloaded, I think, Kafka 351. So you can unzip it. Let's unzip the Kafka, then, okay, when you unzip it, then you will have a directory or another folder created here with the same name, or just without the extension. Then the next step is to actually try to make the configuration. So from the beginning, let's explore, or let's see some of the differences between the previous server configurations and the current KRaft configurations. I have opened the two files here already, and some of the things that we can see, this is the previous configuration, and you might have known this. If you didn't, then you can watch the previous video. But you can see we have the broker ID as usual, all the rest of the configuration, then your log directories, where Kafka is going to store the logs information. Then you also have all the rest of the things. This is the normal server configurations, the one that we are used to, the one that we know for the old version of Kafka. So you can still go ahead and change things as you want if you prefer to use this form of configuration, or you want to use the Zookeeper base. And you can see your Zookeeper address also is there. But with the KRaft configurations, if maybe I can just make it a little bit bigger, with the KRaft configuration, you see we have additional, like the process role. Is it a broker or a controller? It serves both in this case because it's the server configuration. We also have the node ID, then the voters or the quorum that this node or this controller is going to use with the port to communicate with other controllers. So this connect string for the controller quorum. Then we also have our normal listeners. Here you can see we have the normal port that we are used to, and then the controller with the controller port, the name of the listener. Not much things change here, and if you already know the previous configuration, you would be familiar with all these ones. So you can see here we don't have a lot of things to change. And the only thing, and this for our brokers to be in quorum, so we have to add the list of the brokers here. And then we have the listeners, then the number of threads, and then your log directory also. So here, the KRaft log directories. Then you have the number of partitions. By default, it's 1. You can change it to any number that you want. Then also the replication factor. This one too, you can change it. Then you have also the log minimum in sync replica. Also you can change it. These are all default to 1. And you know that these configurations are used if you did not specify the configuration when creating topic. For example, if when you are creating topic, you did not specify the number of partitions that will be created for the topic, then default will be 1. Likewise, the number of in-sync replicas, like us, the replication factor, these ones will all be the default. So you have to change this according to your requirement. So now let's go ahead, for example, after extracting our Kafka, let's go ahead and look some of the things we can do in order to have our KRaft-based Kafka configuration. Let's start first with just having a single node, which has nothing rather than just one node that is standalone Kafka. So with this, one of the first thing you can do is to generate a cluster ID. And generating cluster ID, you can use this ID to format your log files. So let's go ahead and generate our ID. And I mean, you can find these commands from the Kafka page. I will also provide the links, but some of them you can just copy and paste and just run your configuration. Here you just create the cluster ID. From the bin directory, you have your storage. You give the command and you press enter, then an ID will be generated. Sorry, here now we have to be in the Kafka directory. So for example, let me go to the extracted directory. Now I'm in my Kafka directory. Then I can execute the same command to generate an ID. So now a cluster ID has been generated. If we want to see the ID that was generated, we can just echo the ID and see it there. So you see, this is the ID that is generated for this cluster. We are going to use this ID to format our log directories for the KRaft. This is required. It's necessary. If you want to use KRaft, you have to generate an ID. Then you have to also format the logs directory of your KRaft quorum or controller with the ID that you generated. So let's also copy and paste the command, and then I will include the commands in the description. So you just run this command again. Then, because if you can see from here, our default logs directory is in the temp directory. Sorry, where is temp directory? Yeah. We are going to have our temp directory in my local machine. If you are using a Linux or MacBook or Mac OS, then you will have a temp directory. Under that temp directory, this Kafka or KRaft combined logs, the directory will be created. So you can change the name if you want, whatever you configure. But whatever you set in the logs directory, that's what will be created. So using our command, now we press enter, then it will create the directory. You see, formatting this with the metadata version of this Kafka. So now we have our directory created. If I am to go to that place again, let's say I go to the temp directory, temp directory now and check, I will see that the directory is created. So we have our directory ready now. Now we can run our Kafka standalone if we want. That is standalone that will be used just for that purpose. And unlike previously, previously if you want to run Kafka, you must first start Zookeeper. Now, no need of Zookeeper anymore. So you are free to just execute your command without thinking of Zookeeper. So this is one of the things we check, and let's execute or start our KRaft. I will copy and paste. I will provide you with this commands later. Let's come here. We are now in our Kafka directory. As usual, you are used to this command already, the server start. Then instead of giving the server configuration, as you were used to with the Zookeeper based cluster or with the Zookeeper based controller, now you just give the KRaft server configuration, which we just checked here, and then press enter. So now we should have our Kafka KRaft or Kafka-Raft based controller ready. So you see now the Kafka server started. It's ready, waiting for command. Okay, let's just explore a little bit, create a topic, or maybe just see what is going on there. So from here, let me go to the Kafka directory. Now I'm in the Kafka directory. Let's create our topic. You already know this command already. And then the bootstrap server, that is where you are going to create the distance. So our address, what is the host, local host, then 1992. Press enter and the topic should be created. How can we know that this topic is created? Well, just execute the describe command for Kafka, right? And then localhost 1992. Yeah. So now we are checking. Yeah, so great. So you see our topic is created. How many partition? one partition. That is the ID of the partition start from 0. How many leader? 1 leader, because we are just running standalone. How many replicas? Only 1 replica. We have in sync replica, still is only 1, because we are using the default configuration. So this is how you can just start a standalone. And if we look from our terminal, actually when we started, you can see the update here. It said load partition Kafka series 0. That's our partition from the topic we created. So it means that now we have our KRaft standalone Kafka running, and we will be able to send and receive message. The only thing, we only have 1 partition, 1 replica, 1 leader, 1 in sync replica, which is not really great. This is just for testing purpose. Even locally, this could fail all the time. So please just use this for testing purpose. Until I see you in the next video, where we are going to configure the cluster still in our local machine using the KRaft and then test it with some topic. Until then, thank you very much for watching. See you in the next video.